bit of fireworks, and now we move into some street stocks to finish the night for the President's Cup for 2023. We thank everyone that's joined us. And now let's go back to some racing. 15 laps we put on the board here. Ahern leads us into turn 1 and 2, but look at Ricky Throckmorton trying to come through. Watts is there as well. Kinnear trying to make something happen with that 35 car. So it's action aplenty between second, third and fourth. There is no splitting them at this point. For the street stocks, 14 laps still to run. Ahern. We've seen our leaders get out to a nice, comfortable lead and then just be reeled back in from someone that's been in second and third. Throckmorton under heavy attack. McDan's there. So Dan to the inside in that 23 car. Now thinks better off it. Will just sit behind Throckmorton. Then we go back to Stephen Watts in that 55. So Watts currently in P4, but not for long. He wants P3. And he'll do it by any means necessary, apparently. Mick Dan just copped one.
Not now, mate, because he just torn the right front tyre off. That tyre got him in turn number 3. Or more to the point, he got the tyre.
Yeah, he definitely got the tyre.
I think he was trying to run about 3 wide down there, and that's the reason to keep those guys off the infield. There's a whole wide racetrack out there for them. Wattsy will know that, but unfortunately he's torn that right front corner completely out of the 5.
You could just see that he was leaning on Dan coming out of that tyre. No doubt the steering had gone and he had total no control and almost putting Dan a spin around. As the clapperview.com replay comes into action, you can see the contact that happened there. For those at home, you can see the Watts car, the Stephen Watts car, the number 5. Go to the inside, makes contact with the infield tractor tyre, lands it back on all fours, but you can see that front driver wheel just absolutely turning to that left-hand side. He's got no control out of it. There's 13 laps remain here for the street stocks. Ahern will lead us in that 4 car, gets us to a nice slow start. You've got to go back to heat race number 1. Essentially, everybody was struggling on a real heavy track. Now it's just widened out a little bit. So Ahern, Throckmorton in P2 at this point. Mick Dan in that 23 occupies P3. Hutchinson to the outside, avoids contact on Dan. He's in P4, but he wants one spot. He wants to be on the podium to finish tonight. 12 laps remaining for Ahern. And he's got Throckmorton behind him and Dan now to the inside. The 23, the red line 23, now into P2. Will come after our leader. The NY4 is under heavy attack. Throckmorton just goes to the infield, but he's able to miss the infield tractor tyre. Tim Hutchinson, that 88 car fat man to the outside of Throckmorton. They'll drag race down the back straight. Little bit of contact. Throckmorton just travelled up the speedway. Tried to close off any momentum that Hutchinson could get. And look at him trading paint so that they come out of turn 4. Kinnear in P5. Brumley, Dean Jenkins, Lee Goulding, Mitch Viney, Lucas Dickinson in that T1-2-1. Rounds out our top 10 with 10 to run here. So that blue flag there being shown to the back markers, essentially just telling them to keep their line. Don't go up or down. Just let the leaders come through. And Ahern is that. He puts one car between first and second. But Mick Dan gets rid of that one nice and quickly. And now maybe the gap is opening up. Look at Ahern go through. Goes to the outside there in turn 1 and 2. And Dan comes right with him. He's not letting him out of his sights, is he? Mick Dan, the red line 23, holding steady in P2. And 1 and 2 have now got their own battle between them. They've got through lap traffic for most of the lap now. Oh, Lee Goulding will go around in turn 1 and 2. We stay green at this point with a car, the 11 car, left stranded in turn 2. Ahern. Now the caution lights will come on. I was just wondering when maybe that would come on. It's not the crash and bash where they'll re-enter at any time. the street stocks here. So caution light will bring the car field back to it. We'll have a single file restart. They'll all have to get through that cone on the front straight safely and re-enter with 8 laps to run here for our street stocks. And Ahern has looked good. Morris Ahern has led from lap number 1 in the Campton Graphics number 4. You can see he's got that breast cancer awareness sticker right on that number. Beautifully presented car, may I add as well. Look at the yellow and the pink and the white number and a little bit of a highlighted there. Immaculate, thanks to Campton Graphics. Mick Dan, the red line 23, sits right behind him. Look at the mud on that front grille. Ricky Throckmorton in P3, Hutchinson in P4. Big shout out to the Decky Racing team that are on board that 88 from Dalesford. Donkey, Decky and Imogen, of course, all here tonight supporting that car. Kinnear behind in the 35, trying to get up and go. We go back to green flag racing here. 8 laps still remain for our street stocks. Ahern now under trouble. Can he maintain the lead here with 8 to run? He's done so well. He's ticked all the boxes you can tick. He's now got to tick the final 8. Mick Dan in P2. Ricky Throckmorton in P3. Kinnear in that 35 car in P4. Hutchinson in P5. Then we find Brumley, Viney, all there as well, a little bit deeper in this one. Car turned around deeper in this one. Will continue. Green, no contact between 1 and 2, but it's definitely opened up the door for a side-by-side battle. Ahern supporting some front-end damage. Might be only cosmetic as Ricky Throckmorton will go around and face the opposite direction here on the front straight. And so will Hutchinson. So caution lights come out. 7 laps still to run here. Street stocks. Our final event here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. How good was the fireworks? And now we get to finish off with a little bit of street stock racing. Ricky Throckmorton will no doubt join and tag on to the back of this one. He was running essentially in that 2nd and 3rd spot. He had Mick Dan that was in hot pursuit of him. But Morris Ahern has been able to look after that car in front. And he's had everything thrown at him from the inside to the outside. It was a side-by-side battle with one of our back markers. That opened up the door. There was a little bit of a push and shove and a hip and shoulder, but the umpire said play on. Next time by, the lights will go out and we'll have 7 laps on the board for Morris Ahern. McDan in P2. They'll promote the 35 of Kinnear. Hutchinson will go to P4. Then we go back to Jaden Brumley in that B64. Oh, maybe just a little bit of an adjustment here to that top 3. Of course, we go 1 lap back. So if your pass wasn't made for a full lap, unfortunately, it does not count. And these drivers here, of course, have that one-way receiver in. So the chief steward can talk to the drivers, but the drivers cannot talk back. Of course, we use that for safety purposes, for yellows and reds and cautions, and now for the final starting positions. Look at Brumley trying to move up as well. They should not be side by side. Yellow flag will come out. We won't go green just this lap. See the bumps going on there out of turn 3 and 4. And of course, these street stocks, they flip a coin when they come out onto the track to determine which way they go, clockwise or anti-clockwise. And then one of the only few classes that do that. We'll see the super rods in action, no doubt, over the classic weekend. That they do the exact same, but they don't flip a coin. They just go the opposite direction no matter what. So you can't really set up to go one way like we see in the sprint cars where they may have a bigger right rear and create a little bit of stagger. You'd be all in a chance game. There's Ahern, will lead us off. 7 still to run here. Street stock final. Hearn. Dan. In P2 at the moment. Still hasn't been able to get into P1 where he wants to be at this point, but the red line 23 is trying to throw everything he can at it. Tim Hutchinson in that Dalesford 88. That's that all-black car with the white number. Currently in P3. We'll finish on a podium here. Brumley right behind him in P4. Kinnear in P5 in that 35 car. Jenkins, Viney, Lucas Dickinson, Jack Jordan, Seacombe, Glare, Lee Goulding, all deeper in this one. Unfortunately, the 29 will come to the infield of Ashley Fox. That G29 of Fox will play no further part in this one. The 1-2-1 got a little out of shape at that point of Lucas Dickinson. So your battle is still developing between 1 and 2. Mick Dan will just not go away, will he? Hutchinson in P3. He's got a battle on his hands with Brumley in that 64 car. That's for P3. Brumley to the inside. Jaden Brumley occupies P3. White flag is out now. Oh no, that's a warning flag, shall I say. It's a black with a stripe, so it's a warning flag for a leader, who at this point is Mick Dan, who was able to get past Morris Ahern in that NY4. So a little bit of contact may have developed in a lap or two before, but you can just see that front end damage happening for Morris Ahern. 3 laps will turn into 2. Lap traffic won't play a part. We'll almost finish this before we get to the back markers. But Ahern still trying to make something happen to that inside groove. He lost the lead. He did so well. From start to almost finish. He's in P2, gets a little bit crossed up. White flag is out for your leader, Mick Dan, Morris Ahern. Brumley's in no man's land. He's got no one to attack, no one to defend. But talk about defending, it's going to be Mick Dan that has to defend Morris Ahern. Ahern to the inside out of 3 and 4. They make contact, and I eat my words. Back markers did play a part. Look at the blocking skills there. Morris Ahern, the NY4, gets it done. Checkered flags come out. 15 laps done and dusted. Morris Ahern led it from the start to almost 3.5 laps to go. Mick Dan came past, and you thought he was off to the races until that final turn. Ahern put it to the inside. It was able to hold off Dan's momentum. Then came up to a back marker and just blocked him. We've seen that before.
And look at the front end, mate. It is just smashed across the 4. It's not square. I don't know what he's run into. It was a hell of a race, wasn't it?
Anything that gets the job done for Morris Ahern. Was able to hold off a hard-charging Mick Dan, and that was a thrilling battle, that last 5 laps. Great to see. Come on, everybody, put your hands together as Morris Ahern comes through with the checkered flag and does a little bit of celebration with the throttle as well.
I don't know how he's turning that car.